What's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Spoolboy, and this time I'm coming at you guys with a little bit different video than what you normally see. One, there's face cam. Hello, hi. My green screen's all set up. It's also like 2 a.m. and it's probably gonna be another night of no sleep for me. So I'm trying to get this done before my daughter wakes up. So it might be a quick one, but with season 2 ending of the Bbdl, we are going into season 3 of the Bbdl, and we have drafted our teams already. So I kind of wanted just to take a moment to kind of look at the team that I've drafted and the Pokemon that I've drafted and kind of my thoughts on them, and also I don't know, just maybe give a little bit of insight to what I'm thinking when I draft these Pokemon. I didn't draft a single Pokemon that I had used last season. Every Pokemon I have is brand new. My goal is to kind of try to use every Pokemon as much as I can. Last season, I didn't use any of my C tier Pokemon except for like Toedscruel once and Oricorio once, and both of them got dumpstered. Well, actually, I don't even think Toedscruel even saw the battlefield, except for maybe once. But yeah, so this time I kind of drafted my C tiers with the expectation that they are going to see play this time around. And if you're curious as how to our drafting works, we have every Pokemon split into tiers. So there's the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, S, A, B, and C, in the C tier. I was trying to make sure I didn't forget a letter or anything. S obviously being the worst, and then going all the way down to C, or S being the best, and then going all the way down to C, which is the worst. So I'm going to start with my S tier Pokemon, and we are going to go all the way down to C tiers. So if you're only here to see the big bad Pokemon that I drafted, you're in luck because you're probably only gonna have to watch the first maybe 5 minutes of this. So, and I am actually drafting. I drafted kind of a weather team, kind of. I don't play well against weather. I hate playing against weather, and I don't play weather myself, but I really want to try it out. So, with our very first pick, we actually got Raging Bolt, which is actually pretty crazy. We were, I think, the 6th pick, and from what I've seen or from what I've heard, because I haven't watched much competitive Pokemon and I haven't been looking into what's been going on in the tournaments, Raging Bolt is apparently like up there in usage with Fluttermane, which is crazy because Fluttermane's been king / queen for since the beginning, since Fluttermane came into use. So the fact that I got a Pokemon that even contends with it, I mean, it is early, so maybe that's why. Who knows? This Pokemon could fall off, could be garbage. But just some of the, well, first let's look at the stats. It's got 125 base HP, 73 attack stat, which is whatever. It's not an attacker, it's not physical. 91 defense, not too bad. 89 special defense, once again, not horrible, but a 137 special attack and a 75 speed. So it's actually not very fast. It maxes out at, like, if I were to go, let's just look at timid, 139 speed. I don't think that's really going to outspeed anything crazy. I don't think you'd ever run max speed on this thing anyway. Maybe unless it's like for a gimmick, but it does make up for that with its new move, Thunderclap. So what this is a Sucker Punch, but a special Sucker Punch and also an electric type Sucker Punch. So it's going to be Stab, base 70. So after Stab, that's base 115. And then if you terastallize it, I think it's double, so it's like base 140. So that's crazy. That is a lot of damage coming out on a priority move. Obviously, you play around it the same way you play around like Sucker Punch. clicking protect, calm. I see calm mind, so calm mind. Anything that's not an attacking move, any status attack is going to obviously out prioritize it, or is going to cause the move to fail. And so yeah, it's got that in its arsenal. It's also got Draco Meteor, the best dragon attack move. If you don't want your special attack lowered, you can run the Dragon Pulse. I know that's in here somewhere. It starts with a D, so it's going to be towards the top. Yep, there's Dragon Pulse. It's got Hyper Voice, which is interesting. I don't know if you'd ever run Hyper Voice on it. I don't know why you'd want to. But I guess it is a spread move. But it also has Discharge for a spread move as well. So I don't know why you'd ever run Hyper Voice, except for maybe in the niche situation. But it does have it as an option. We've got... It can taunt. It's got Weather Ball. So running this on a weather team, it is going to have... So if it's a sun team, you're going to have a fire type Weather Ball. Water or rain team, water type Weather Ball. And I think, I don't know if sand and hail have a Weather Ball. Maybe they do. Maybe it's ice and rock type. I don't know. Honestly, I've never seen Weather Ball used in sand or snow, so maybe we'll find out this season. Also gets the new move Dragon Cheer. But I don't think that move's good. Apparently there's a bug in the game right now with the move. And the crit stays after you swap out, which has caused it to not be used. To be banned from being used right now in the actual VGC format. So, and it's got other electric moves like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. You could run some supportive moves like Thunder Wave, but the main thing that you're going to run on this is probably Assault Vest with 4 attacking moves. If you don't like Assault Vest, you can run Leftovers and kind of go like Protect, Calm, like Calm Mind, Draco, or Dragon Pulse with Thunderbolt, Thunderclap, or we'll just go Thunderbolt, and then we'll click and we'll Protect. So that's going to be like a leftover set for it. But for an Assault Vest, you're probably going to go Draco Meteor, Thunderclap, which is all the way down here for some reason, and then like for me running a weather team, I'd like Weather Ball because it gives me a little bit more coverage. And then you're probably not going to run much speed on it. I mean, the main thing you're going to run is special attack. I think no matter how you EV this thing, it's always going to get the special attack boost from Photosynthesis. Oh, yeah, Booster Energy is also an option on it too, to further boost that special attack. But like if you run a Modest Nature on it, you hit 207 special attack at level 50. That is a huge special attack stat right there. So, and this thing is a great answer into Urshifu. It's good into Tornadus. Now, I know that's not a huge deal in this draft league just because only one person has Tornadus and only one person has Urshifu Rapid. But in those matchups, the Raging Bolt is going to be key. Like it's a Pokemon that's going to get brought for sure if I ever see those mons. It doesn't have the best matchup in the Fluttermane because of its typing. It is a dragon, so Fluttermane is going to be really good against it. That's exactly what Fluttermane needed. It just needed to be a little bit better. So of course, the best new Pokemon that they introduced, Fluttermane's good against. But that is enough for Raging Bolt. We'll go on to my next S tier. So we got 2 S tiers. My first one was Raging Bolt. The second one I got was Landorus Therian. Now, Landorus Therian is just classic Intimidate mon. That's all it gets. All it gets is Intimidate. It's the only option. You can run things like Stomping Tantrum, Earthquake. I mean, this Pokemon's seen so much VGC. If you know anything about VGC, you know what this Pokemon can do. It's got some coverage moves like Crunch. It's got a Hammer Arm. I don't think I've ever seen it use Hammer Arm, but it's got it. You can use it. the Sandseer Storm, not that you're ever really going to be attacking on the special side because its attack stat is way better. But I guess if you wanted to try and run a special Landorus Therian set, you could give it a shot. But if you're going to do that, you're probably better off having Landorus Incarnate. The Landorus Therian is actually interesting. Oh, it's got U-Turn as well. And then Terrablast. Terrablast Flying is really popular with Choice Scarf. So, and it also has access to Weather Ball, which is special. So once again, I don't know why it get ran, but it's there. It's an option. You can run Stone Edge, maybe even Smackdown. But the Landorus Therian was actually the last pick in my draft. I saved my last S tier for the very end because I wasn't too sold on a lot of the S tiers, and I didn't really know what else I wanted for my team. And so I said in the Discord chat, I said, "Hey, what should I do for my last S tier?" And someone said, "Pick Landorus Therian." And I said, "All right, say less." So here's Landorus Therian. If a Pokemon's gonna get dropped on this team, it's probably gonna be Landorus Therian. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. He has my only Intimidate Mon, so he does have that going for him. Intimidate, it's always really nice to have. And yeah, I mean, there really isn't a whole lot to say about Landorus. The one set that you seem to always see is Choice Scarf with U-Turn, Stomping Tantrum, just because of grassy terrain from Rillabooms. But Earthquake can be used, especially in a draft league where only one person's got Rillaboom. And then you kind of have like Crunch, Break if they have the possibility of bringing screens, and Terra Blast. But the main thing you see is like max speed, Jolly. I don't know if it's exactly max speed, max attack, but something in that vein with a Choice Scarf. So the only thing I feel like Landorus in this current format is kind of one-dimensional. I haven't played around with Landorus Therian much, so I could very well be wrong. There could be a whole lot that you can do with it that I'm just unaware of. But I guess we'll see as it goes on. But yeah, let's move on to the A tiers. So we get 3 A tier Pokemon. The first one that I drafted was Amoonguss. Now, Amoonguss was actually my second pick overall. I went Raging Bolt right into Amoonguss, and that is because in Season 2, we played with a Sleep Clause. Only one Pokemon could be put to sleep at a time. But to be more true to the VGC style, we have gotten rid of the Sleep Clause, so now you can put as many Pokemon to sleep as you want. And I thought with that change, Amoonguss being A tier is insane. Like, I think Amoonguss should be an S tier Pokemon because it still has really good matchups and the huge threats in VGC, like Fluttermane. Amoonguss is really good in Fluttermane, and Urshifu Rapid. Amoonguss is amazing into Urshifu Rapid. Like, there is just Pokemon that Amoonguss is so good into that are in the S tier, and I thought it's a great mon to have, especially without a Sleep Clause. Like, I think it's still a great mon without Sleep Clause. But for like the last season, we had it in the S tier with Sleep Clause, and I don't think Amoonguss is S tier with Sleep Clause, but I think without Sleep Clause, I think Amoonguss is easily S tier. It's got a really good HP stat. It's got decent enough bulk to, if you invest, you can invest in both and be bulky on both sides and be able to take multiple hits. It also has the Regenerator ability. So on swap out, you restore a third of your HP every single time the Pokemon swaps off the field. Of course, there are ways to get around that. There's the new move, Psychic Noise, I believe. Psychic Noise? I believe it's Psychic Noise. I think Psychic Noise is the new move that blocks healing, which does block Regenerator if you swap out while you're still affected by Psychic Noise, which I think lasts 2 turns. So there is a little bit more counterplay to the massive healing that Amoonguss does. There is more ways to kind of stop it, but I still think even with all of those going against it, I still think it should be an S tier pick. It's got access to Toxic if you'd want to poison Pokemon rather than put them to sleep, but of course you've got Spore, you've got Pollen Puff for healing, healing your allies, dealing damage. This is really the only damaging move you ever really see on Amoonguss, especially in VGC, but in Draft League there's a little more lenience with the kind of things you can go with. You don't have to go with like the super safe cookie cutter build, I guess. So normally you'd see something like Spore, Pollen Puff, Protect, and Rage Powder. I think Rage Powder and Spore are pretty much always going to be brought. Those moves are just insane. Protect, you don't necessarily always need Protect, but it is good to have because you can increase the longevity of your Amoonguss with Protect. It also gets things like Leaf Storm. Now, its special stat isn't great, but Leaf Storm is an insanely powerful grass move, and it also has Stab. So, I mean, one Leaf Storm could, who knows, it could put you in a good position to get a knockout on something. It could knock something out. It could catch your opponent off guard with dealing some damage. And it also has access to Clear Smog, which is really good. So I don't know how many Pokemon get access to Haze now, but Haze was kind of the go-to to remove stats. But the downside to Haze is that it removes stats from everything on the field. So if you're setting up, you're also removing your own stats. But with Clear Smog, you can reset the stats no matter what of a single Pokemon without resetting the stats of everyone, which is really nice. But the only downside to it is that it's a poison type move, so steel types are immune to it, and Terra Steel. So if something Terras into the steel type, you can't Clear Smog them, but it's still a pretty good option. So, and it also has like Grass Knot, Giga Drain. It's also got Foul Play, which you can run. It's got a few different things I can do. It also has access to the two weathers and sun and rain. You don't have sand and snow, but you wouldn't want those on Amoonguss anyway. So yeah, that was my first A tier pick. Now my second A tier pick, I did go through a couple of changes. Originally I had Annihilate and Mousehold, which, don't get me wrong, I love that combo. I love Annihilate and I love Mousehold, but the problem that you run into with those two, in my opinion, especially in a draft league format, people are going to prep for them every game no matter what because they require attention. And I feel like if you know they're coming and it's one of the few things you have to prep for, I feel like it's a lot easier to prep for it. So I did end up dropping the Annihilate, and I did end up dropping the Mousehold, and ended up picking up two different Pokemon in their place. The first one that I picked up was Screamtail. Screamtail is once again another bulky Pokemon. It's got 115 special defense, 99 defense, and 115 HP with 111 speed. So it's a pretty fast Mon. And I believe it does get Helping Hand, it gets Light Screen, and I do think it also gets Reflect. Yes, it also does get Reflect, and it gets the new move Psychic Noise, along with like Play Rough, Dazzling Gleam, Perish Song, Psychic Fangs. It's got a huge move pool. Thunder Wave, Trick. I do really like Trick and Switcheroo. I think those are great moves. But it gets access to a lot of great moves. And its typing is pretty good with the Fairy Psychic typing. Fairy's always really nice. Having a Dragon Immunity is good. And this is another Pokemon that I think does pretty well into kind of like some of the bigger threats, like Raging Bolt. It probably doesn't do as great into Gouging Fire, but Walking Wake, Urshifu, Rapid, and Single, I think it can deal with both of them if built right. But it can do a lot. So this thing, you're generally not going to run super offensively. it's going to be a defensive mon, more of a support mon. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to use this. I really do like Screamtail. I love the crazy Jigglypuff look. It's great. It also has access to Howl. So Howl also raises your allies' attack by 1. So maybe you don't really care for boosting your own attack with your Screamtail, but if you have an ally next to it that's a physical attacker like Landorus, you can actually use Howl to raise Landorus's attack while it Choice Scarf Terrible Ass everything. So I don't know. There's some cool things that I can do. It also has access to Trick Room as well. Not that it likes to be in Trick Room, but if you have teammates that like to be in Trick Room, it's another way to get that off. So yeah, Screamtail is another one that's got a lot of tools, and I'm really excited to use it. And for my last A tier pick, it was Typhlosion Hisui. So from these first 5 picks, you haven't kind of picked up on what weather I'm trying to run here. It'll be apparent when we get to the B tiers. So Typhlosion Hisui, it's got access to Eruption. Now, it's got a pretty high special attack stat, and it's got decent enough speed to where you could run a Choice Scarf on this thing and be fast. Be fast. It also has one of my favorite abilities for doubles, especially a closed team sheet format like our draft league has, in Frisk. When you send the Pokemon out on the field, it tells you what items those Pokemon are holding, which I think is invaluable to have, especially in the first few in like game 1. When you send this Pokemon out, you know a third of your opponent's items on the team, which helps a lot in calculations and knowing whether or not you can take something and possibly what set they could be running. So you know a Pokemon with Assault Vest isn't going to have Protect. It's not going to have any kind of boosting moves or anything like that. It's literally only going to be able to attack. And then a Pokemon with Focus Sash, you know, okay, I can, if I double into this Pokemon, that's the only way I'm going to be able to knock it out one hit, or in like one turn. And then you have things like Covert Cloak. Knowing not to fake out the Covert Cloak Pokemon. That, I can't tell you how many times last season that actually saved me from wasting Fake Out into a slot that didn't need to be faked out. So yeah, Frisk. I think Frisk is an amazing ability in this in the format that we were playing in, with the closed team sheets. But yeah, so this is going to be a special attacker, obviously. It's got access to Heat Wave. It's got access to Infernal Parade, which has a 30% chance to burn. And then if the target already has a status like Amoonguss Asleep, the power is doubled. So it's actually 120 base power, and that's not counting Stab. With Stab, it's math. Is it 180? Would it be 180 after the 2 times? Or would you just add, I mean, I guess even after, if you go base plus Stab would be 90 plus the 2 times, I think it's 180 no matter what. So that's a 180 special ghost type move. Also has access to like Shadow Ball, a much safer one that doesn't rely on a status. If you just want raw damage, you can Will-Wisp with it. It's got Lava Plume, which does hit an ally, but I mean there are ways around that. This is literally just going to be a Pokemon that you slap a choice item on and hope that it goes crazy. And also it's got Solar Beam for some coverage. If you're in the sun, and it's got Fire Spin if you want to trap. Yeah, I mean this Pokemon is probably one of the more one-dimensional Pokemon that I drafted, but I felt like I needed something to do some work in my weather, because other than photosynthesis boost, like what's going to do anything in my sun? And so leading into that, my first well, this wasn't my first B tier. This is actually one that I picked up after the draft was over because I decided I want to run Sun. I did end up picking up Ninetales. Now, Ninetales isn't the premier drought user. I would have much preferred to have Torkoal, but Torkoal was an A tier and was also picked really early in the draft. So I kind of sacrificed the Sun mode for Amoonguss. But Ninetales also isn't bad. The only thing that sucks is it is fast. So I believe, like, let's look at Pelipper. Yeah, Pelipper is slower. So Pelipper's, the way that it works is the faster Pokemon's ability goes off first. So let's say Pelipper and Ninetales both get let off with. Ninetales' Drought's going to go up first because it's faster. And then Pelipper's Rain is going to go, Drizzle is going to go off next. So the Rain will be the one set up. So it's the only thing that sucks about getting Ninetales as my weather setter. It's fast. And you don't really want your weather setter to be fast. Pelipper is kind of like the premier one that everyone goes for. I don't know what tier it fell into in this draft. I don't know if it was B or if it was A. It might have been B. I'm not too sure. But yeah, with Pelipper falling there, that kind of hurts the stock of Ninetales. And I believe even Politoed is slower as well. Yeah, Politoed is going to be faster than Pelipper, but not fast enough to ever be... I mean, let's look at max speed. 134. Oh, I disconnected. So I'd have to be max speed, and they'd have to be... I'd have to be min speed, and they'd have to be max speed to ever outspeed. But that is beyond the point. Anyways, so I have Ninetales here. Ninetales is nice because it's got okay stats. I mean, the thing that sucks is it's fast. But it does have a decent support move pool. It's got a faster Will-O-Wisp. It does have access to like Solar Beam, Shadow Ball, Scorching Sands. It's got Overheat, Hex, Energy Ball, Extrasensory. It even has Dark Pulse. I really haven't looked into this much. It does have access to Encore, which is always nice. Having a fast Pokemon with Encore is nice, because you can possibly trap slower Pokemon that have used Protect into using Protect over and over and over again, which nobody ever wants. Also, I don't know if I already said Helping Hand, but it's got access to Helping Hand, Protect, Roar if for whatever reason you need to force a Mon out that's setting up or anything like that. That's an option, but that's usually not all too prevalent in doubles VGC. Another Pokemon that has access to Howl, and it also has access to Snarl, which can be a lifesaver in some scenarios, in some matchups. Also has access to Hypnosis, but I don't know why I'd ever bring that when I have the best Spore bot in the game in Amoonguss. So really Ninetales is on the team to set Sun, and that's about it. It's got some tools that I can play with, but outside of that, it's another one-dimensional Pokemon. So for my next B tier, I drafted Weezing. So Weezing is great because of neutralizing gas. While the Pokemon's on the field, every Pokemon that is on the field with it has its ability turned off. Now, before Regulation F, it used to not affect Photosynthesis and Quark Drive, but apparently that wasn't intended. So they fixed it, and now it blocks both Photosynthesis and Quark Drive. Which kind of hurts my team a bit, just because I can't set Sun with Ninetales, get a Photosynthesis boost on Raging Bolt or Screamtail, and then send out Weezing and get rid of everyone else's abilities but my own. So that does need an ability shield in order to run. Not that I don't think I'd ever run ability shield, but Weezing is a nice option to have to force people to run either ability shield themselves or not have an ability. And it's got a huge defensive stat. So once again, my team looks very supportive and very defensive. And honestly, I'm not really the biggest fan of that. If this doesn't work out, I will switch my team up. And the first things that are going to go, other than Landorus Therian, are probably going to be the Sun mode. But I'm more than willing to give it a try. I like trying new things, and so this is probably the worst rendition of a Sun team I could have gotten. But I'm still gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a fair shot and see how it goes. But Weezing's got things like Destiny Bond. You've got Gunk Shot if you want to be physical. You also have Sludge Bomb if you want to be special. Will Wisp, another way to burn. Taunt, which is really nice. Of course, it's got Protect. Does it also have Clear Smog? Yep, it's also got Clear Smog. Poison Gas. Poison Gas actually poisons. I didn't know this, but Poison Gas poisons everything on the other side of the field. So, like, let's say I have Weezing and I want to click Infernal Parade with my my Typhlosion Hisui. My Hisui and Typhlosion. I can click Poison Gas and poison the whole team in 2 turns if it goes well. It's an option. It's something I can do. Like, I don't know. I realize that my team probably isn't the best. It's actually probably one of the worst that was drafted, if not the worst. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna try and make it work. It also has access to Acid Spray, which is nice for both Raging Bolt and my Typhlosion. But mainly this is here to turn off my opponent's abilities and not my own, even though it's not, I can't do anything about that. And then my last B tier. Who was my last B tier? They couldn't have been that important if I can't remember them, right? Oh no. I have to look it up. Hold on. This is scuffed. Wait. Gothitelle. How did I forget about Gothitelle? Oh my goodness. Okay, let me pull my showdown back up. Okay, so Gothitelle. Gothitelle is the last Pokemon I drafted. Now, if you like to watch VGC, you probably know of Wolf Click, and he did win a regionals with Perish Trap, running both Screamtail and Gothitelle, and it's kind of what I was going for. With Shadow Tag, it's kind of like using Mean Look on the opposing Pokemon. They can't swap out unless they're a Ghost type. So Ghost type Pokemon will be able to switch out, and then Pokemon with moves like U-Turn, Volt Switch, Flip Turn, and like Baton Pass will be able to swap out. But you can't forcefully swap your Pokemon out without it. So the strategy here is you run like Fake Out, Heal Pulse, Protect, and then like I believe it's like Psychic or something like that. And you just stall. You stall as long as you can, and then you have Screamtail with like I believe Wolf ran Disable, Protect, Perish Song, of course. Where is Protect? Anyway, Protect. I think he ran Play Rough and Protect. I think that's what he ran. He might have ran Encore too. Or Encore instead of like Protect. I'm not 100% sure. But the main thing is make Gothitelle as bulky as possible. Keep Gothitelle alive so they can't swap out. And then when Perish Song is on its last turn, you just swap your Pokemon out. and they lose both of theirs and you don't lose anything. Or you can swap one out and only lose one mon when they lose two, and it gives you a huge advantage. It's a huge win con in some games, especially in games where they're down to their last two Pokemon and they can't swap out anymore. Because then being a ghost type doesn't matter. Being being a ghost type doesn't matter, and then your U-turn, Volt Switch, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter. So this is another strategy I can bring. Like, I can bring it with Sun, I can bring it without Sun. So this is another thing that I kind of wanted to give a shot at. I've never tried Perish Trap before. But like I said, I like to try new things, and this is kind of, I use these draft leagues to try new things, which is weird because you think you'd want to play your tried and true and do as good as possible. But for me, I'm like, I just want to use Pokemon that I normally don't use. So yeah, that's my last B tier pick. And then we have 2 C tier picks. Now, my first C tier pick is Stonejourner. Now, the only reason why I picked Stonejourner is because I love its ability Power Spot. It just boosts the allies' attack by 1.3. So it's just another damage multiplier. It's a very slow Pokemon. It has no special defense, but it's got decent HP. And its defense stat is 135, which with a good attack stat. So this Pokemon can do quite a bit to catch opponents off guard. No one really expects Stonejourner to do anything. I did play it a little bit on ladder, like old format. I think it was like Reg A or Reg B. I played it with Tyranitar, and oh my god, this thing was so fun. This thing, people just, I don't know, they don't expect what it can do. It has access to like Heavy Slam, so I believe its Heavy Slam can OHKO Fluttermane, if I'm not mistaken. It might be different now that people run their Fluttermane a little bit different, but yeah, it's got Heavy Slam, it's got Body Press, it's got Iron Defense, it's got things like Earthquake, Rock Slide. Does it have Earthquake? I might have lied about that one. It does have Earthquake. It's got Rock Slide, Wide Guard. Yeah, I mean, this thing is mostly picked for its ability, but I do like what it can do. It's also got Hard Press, which is another new move, which deals damage based on the opposing Pokemon's remaining HP, if I'm reading that correctly. I believe that's what it is. I don't know when you would ever use that. I feel like, I guess if you're using a lighter Pokemon, it would be better than Heavy Slam, but I think you'd pretty much always run Heavy Slam. Another Pokemon with access Sunny Day. Not that I knew that or cared about that, but it's got it. It's there. I can click Mega Kick and hit it never, probably. Has access to Gravity if I want to try some Gravity shenanigans. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the C tier Pokemon are definitely probably the most one-dimensional Pokemon. So this is once again another one-dimensional Pokemon that I picked for its ability. But I do like the Pokemon, and I'm kind of excited to see like what I can do with it. If maybe I can do some sneaky sweeps with it or something. I don't know. I mean, probably not. It's not fast, but it'll be interesting. I like to see what I can do with some of these Pokemon. And then for our last one, I had initially gotten Cantonian Tauros. But then I ended up dropping Tauros in the free... I dropped it in free HD, but the grace period. Or after the grace period, because this is the one that counted against me. And I picked up Passimian. Now, the reason why I picked up Passimian is there's this new move called Upper Hand. Now, if you don't know what Upper Hand does, what it does is if the Pokemon you are attacking with Upper Hand is prepping a priority move, like Fake Out, Sucker Punch, Thunderclap, Quick Attack, Extreme Speed, I don't know if it'll work against extreme speed. It might not. I haven't tested that. But anything like that, anything that's got higher priority like Aqua Jet, upper hand is going to go first, and it's going to cause the opponent to flinch. So it's like it's like fake out, but it only works against priority moves. Now, I haven't tested if it works against Prankster, but Prankster does give priority to moves, and I believe the way it's worded, it says 100% flint chance, fails unless target using priority. It doesn't say anything about a priority attack, so it might work on Prankster priority moves. So like a Tornadus Incarnate's Rain Dance or Tailwind or something like that. Like this might be an answer to that. And I wanted to make sure I had a Pokemon with upper hand. So that's kind of why I went for him. And honestly, after looking at his stats are pretty close to Hariyama's, who I had last season, and Hariyama was like my best Pokemon. Now it doesn't have the abilities that Hariyama has. Hariyama's abilities are way better, but Hariyama's got 120 attack. Passimian's got 120 attack. 60 defense, we have 90 defense. It's got 50 speed, we have 80 speed. They both have 60 special defense, both have 40 special attack. The only thing that Passimian doesn't have that Hariyama has is the HP stat. Base 100 HP isn't bad, but obviously it's not as good as base 144. So Passimian is kind of my Hariyama at home. Hariyama is Iron Hands at home, and Passimian is Hariyama at home. And Hariyama was already taken, so I said, you know what? Why not try something different? So we're going with Passimian. With Passimian being faster, it does actually have options to sweep. It's also got a pretty big move pool. Close combat being huge. It's got access to Drain Punch. It's got like Facade, Knockoff, Gunk Shot, Iron Head. It's got a lot of coverage moves, as well as some a couple supportive moves like Coaching, raises attack and defense of an ally. Yeah, it has Electro Web. That's actually kind of cool. Hold on, maybe I'll run Electro Web. But yeah, it's got Taunt, U-Turn. It's got Beat Up if I end up with a Pokemon later on with Beat Up strats. Quick Guard, another thing that stops priority. Quick Guard, but kind of more. It stops all priority from the opponent rather than just one Pokemon. So the Passimian has options. This is going to be a Pokemon that I'm going to discover more with the more that I use it and I play with it as the season goes on. So I'm really excited to see where I can go with it. It does have the amazing ability in Defiant that can stop people from bringing Intimidate users and like, I don't know. It stops people from bringing stuff that can lower stats, especially on switch-in. So there's that as an option. And it also has the receiver ability. Now, I have done testing with the receiver ability because I wanted to see if I could receive new tries and gas. So unfortunately, you're not able to, because if you don't have ability shield, it obviously turns off your ability. But if you do have ability shield, it stops you from receiving the new ability. So you're stuck with the receiver. Now, that's not the biggest deal. That is kind of the biggest ability that I was hoping to get out of receiver. So if you don't know what receiver is, when your ally faints, you get their ability. So like, unfortunately, Photosynthesis, Quirk Drive are not copyable. So I can't get Photosynthesis off like a fainted Scream Tail. But I can get things like Shadow Tag, and I can get Regenerator. I can get Frisk. But I don't know if after you swap out, if you lose it. That I need to test. Honestly, I don't know much about receiver, and I haven't been able to find much information about receiver online, probably because this is the only Pokemon gets it, and honestly, it's not very good. It doesn't get used. I kind of have it filling a niche role on my team, and honestly, I'm hoping that this Pokemon turns out to be an MVP. I am selfishly playing, ever since I figured out that we did voting in this league, I am now selfishly playing to get one of my Pokemon voted. And I really want Passimian to be the best C tier Pokemon. Because I do really like this Pokemon. But yeah, I mean, that's my team. My team seems very defensive. Not a whole lot of offense on the team. And I think that's probably going to be a big problem, especially when people start catching on to the things that I'm doing if I'm not mixing it up often enough. As you can see at the end of Season 2 Bbdl, my team was kind of one-dimensional. I brought the same Pokemon to every playoff game, just with different sets. Just because those were my comfortable 6 that I know I could play decently with. But this season I'm hoping to have more diversity, and if the Sun team doesn't work out, I will drop it. Anything that doesn't work, I will drop it. I'm ruthless. I don't care. And I'll go with something that doesn't rely on a gimmick. So that does give me some flexibility with adding and dropping things. I think I only have 4 more free agency swaps for the season. So, of course, I will announce at the beginning of a video if there is a team change that week. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Look forward to Season 3. I looked at the schedule. It looks like there's going to be 12 weeks. So that's going to be 12 at the very least. You guys are going to get 12 matches. And I'm going to try and record them all live. I'm going to do all my voiceover live. So it'll be live commentary. And I'm hoping that'll make the upload schedule consistent. Because, like I said before, now it's almost 3 a.m. and I'm doing my recording now, but that's just because my daughter and my girlfriend are asleep, so I've got the time. But yeah, so if you enjoy the content, I mean, leave a like, comment, tell me how shitty my team is, because I think I'm pretty sure I hands down have the worst team in the whole league. I don't have the time to do a full recap of everyone's teams in the league, otherwise I totally would. But unfortunately, I really only have the time to do my own recap of my own team. You guys will kind of see everyone else's teams as the season plays on. So yeah, look forward to it. I'm not 100% sure when we start. We might start a week from now. We might start 2 weeks from now. We might have already started, and I have no idea. And I'm just sitting here rambling on about my team when I should be building. But yeah, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of these great battles that are going to happen. Hopefully this time we can be the champion and not the runner-up, because I hate being the first loser. All right, no more losing. If we're making it to playoffs and we're making it to the championship, we're winning the whole damn thing. We're not losing again. All right. I'm fucking tired. I'm ending this video right now. So just make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I'll see y'all in week 1 of Bbdl Season 3. Peace.